Hello lovelies, welcome back. My name is Tehja Avani and today we have another extra special video. Today we will be recreating and making Ariana Grande's infamous pink Sweetener Tour outfit. I freaking love this outfit. So if you'd like to know how to create this Ariana Grande pink Sweetener Tour look, please keep on watching, but grab your snacks, grab your drinks, grab a notebook, because this is a long video, y'all. But stay tuned, buckle your seatbelts, you'll see the finished product at the end. Alright, so let's get on to it. Okay, so this is the fabric that we'll be using. It's the stretchy pink vinyl fabric. These are all the pattern pieces cut out. But let's get on to sewing this bra. Okay, so here are the bra cut pieces. You should have an inner bra cut piece and an outer bra cut piece. So when you're lining up your inner and outer bra cut pieces, when they're on the right side, make sure that their curves face each other. So now I'm placing one bra piece on top of the other, and then I'm going to pin the top and the bottom together, and just the top and the bottom only because the outer bra cut piece is shorter, and so you have to stretch that piece to the size of the inner bra cut piece. But after we pin those, then we will be sewing about a 1/2 inch on that curved line, stitching, stretching as you sew along. I'm kind of making sure that the raw edges of the curve of the cups are lining up together, and you'll find yourself stretching as you sew. So now, well, I've done that 4 times to make 4 cup pieces. Now we're moving on to making the straps and the band. So if you watch any of my bikini or triangle bra tutorials, you know that we have 2 straps and a band, and you just fold that hot dog style. You're going to sew about a 1/4 inch on that raw edge side, and then you're going to flip them inside out. So these are what the straps and the band should look like once you're done. So now it's time to attach them to the bra cups. So these are all the pieces that you should have after you've sewed everything. 4 bra cups, 2 straps, and the band is not in the frame. So what we're going to do now, since I decided to line my bra, I would not do it with this fabric at all. I'm showing you here that I'm making sure that when you kind of place the bra cups right sides together, I'm making sure that the outer bra cup pieces align and the inner bra cup pieces align. You don't want to mismatch them because it's going to mess up the fit of the bra. So you're going to pin the bra cups together, and it should look like this. And then next we are going to take one of the straps and then wiggle it through up until that center point of the triangle of the bra cup. And then we're going to pin that there, and then we're just going to sew the whole thing. I did it to both bra cups, but here's one. So now I'm just going to flip everything inside out. So this is what it looks like. So now we're going to attach the band to the bra cup. So here's the band. I ended up recutting and sewing my band because this is way too skinny compared to the actual Ariana Grande look. So you see that is the seam. You want to make sure that the seam is facing the back so you don't see it. You don't want that seam to be seen. So then now we are going to take our band and fold it in half. And then we are going to mark that midpoint. Instead of using a pin like I normally do, I am going to use tape because it doesn't, puncture the fabric, and it's easy to take off. Alright, so once we've done that, I'm going to flip these cups over and align that inner point of the cup to that midpoint. When you flip over and align the raw edges of the cups to the bust band, make sure that the raw edge of the cups align to the top of the bust band. We are going to take it to the sewing machine and sew it about a 1/4. I ended up doing a 1/4 inch. It's supposed to be a 1/2 inch, but I think I didn't have enough space. Well, look at that. We got a bra. Okay. I'm so it's just looking good. So now we are going to attach the buckle to the back of the bra. I chose a buckle because I just got a pack of 10, so I had extra buckles to use, but you can use whatever closure you want. I did have a problem though. The strap ended up being way too big to fit through that little the slit of the buckle. So instead I decided to make these little tabs. If you watch my Doja Cat Vivo transformation, you would know about the tabs. So I cut these rectangular pieces. I think it's 1.25 inches wide, and then it's by like 3 inches long, but I ended up making like longer ones, like 6 inches long, just to make sure I had enough length. And then I'm just gonna sew around it like that to make these little tabby things. It's almost like extensions for the band that will fit through the buckle. So now I'm gonna flip them inside out. If you have a problem flipping the vinyl inside out, I feel you. Put a little bit of olive oil on the fabric and then it moves a little bit easier. And then we are going to place the tab and the band of the bra right sides together, clip them together, and I'm just going to stitch that to each end of the band really, really quickly. And it should look like that. And then now I'm just going to wiggle the tab through into the buckle and then put a pin, or not a pin, I keep saying pin because I'm such a sewer, put a clip there, and then we will sew that down. So this is what the bra looks like. It's looking real good. The tabs are sewn on and the buckle is sewn on. So now we are going to move on to the next step of this bra, and it will be the final step. We are going to flip the bra over and close the buckle in order to find the placement of where we want the straps to go. So now I'm just going to fold the straps back and just directly parallel behind the bra cup, wherever that strap lays. That's where we're going to sew the strap. So what I've decided to do, you can do it 2 ways. You can either top stitch the strap down like that, or you can kind of fold the strap over so it's right sides kissing between the band and the strap, and pin it like I'm doing now, and then sew at like a 1/4 inch. So after we take this to the sewing machine, then we are all set for the bra, and the bra is finished. Okay, I lied. So this is what the bra looks like when we're almost done. I know, another line, YouTuber, I apologize. I apologize. But we gotta put the pearls on, the infamous pearls. These are the pearls that we'll be using. We will be using the middle pearls the most. So to be super extra, because that's what I am, I decided to use some masking tape to tape off where I want the, like kind of the line of where I want the pearls to be. You definitely do not have to do this. You can eyeball it, but I just decided to be super duper duper extra. But anyway, now what I'm doing is just hot gluing the pearls on. I'm going to space them about 1/2 inch apart. And as you see here, I am using a bra that I wear to kind of use as a kind of like, I don't know, like flat top mannequin or dress form, but it just helps to create that curved shape of the triangle bra that we have, so I can like accurately put the pearls on, because I found it a little bit hard, especially for the fabric that we're using, to make sure that like all the pearls land in the correct place, in the correct spacement. You don't have to do this. You can definitely do it without using a bra, but I just decided to do so because it was easier for me. And then also, luckily, this fabric holds the pearls really well. But I do, I was rushing here, but I do recommend holding each pearl for about like 5 seconds just to really make sure that the glue grabs onto the fabric. Let's move on to the bottoms. So these are the 2 bottoms pieces that you need. This is from my Skims DIY video, like the pattern for it. So you can watch that video to find the pattern for it. Or like I said, I'll link the pattern for everything here down below. So anyway, we're just going to do the typical lie one piece on top of the other piece and then pin at the side seams and at the crotch area. And then we'll sew it there at, I think, 1/4 inch. I think 1/4 inch. So anyway, it might be a little uneven. I don't know why, but the fit looks good. So if you have to stretch to make like the seams line up, then that's fine. Okay, so these are what the bottoms look like once you sew them. So now what we're going to do is, out of all the raw edges, so the 2 leg holes and the waist, we're going to fold it back 1/4 inch, and then we are going to just sew those raw edges down, and that's pretty much it. As you see, I'm using, this is actually parchment paper, it's not tissue paper, on the bottom and the top, just to make sure that the fabric can go through the machine, because vinyl is very sticky fabric, and so it just doesn't want to move on the sewing machine. So sewing with the paper really helps a lot, and then you just rip the paper off. So these are what the bottoms look like once we're finished, and it looks so good and it fits really good. It's a workout to get in these bottoms though. Okay, so now let's move on to making the skirt. So we're back with the pink vinyl again, and we're going to use this to make our band or waistband for our skirt. So I cut out a waistband piece by my waist measurement, but now as you see here, I'm going to cut 4 inches off. Then I'm going to make a band again. Y'all know. And now I'm going to make more tabs, more tabs for the skirt, and then we are going to sew these tabs to the band, the waistband, like we did for the bra. So what I'm going to do now for aesthetic reasons is just kind of fold that seam allowance back, that extra seam allowance, and then sew it down for like aesthetic reasons and also for fit reasons, just to make sure that everything lays pretty flat. Shablam! This is the fabric that we'll be using for the skirt and also the jacket. It is this crystal pink organza. It's like bubblegum pink. It's so freaking cute, but it's frustrating AF to work with. Oh my god. I made 2 full circle skirts to my waist measurement and then different lengths. There's a 12-inch length skirt and a 16-inch length skirt. We are going to finish all of the raw edges of the skirt. So the waist part, the center front, and the hem. So all in them places, we're going to finish it with a double folded hem. I will be making a video to show you how to do it, because with sheer fabrics like this, and it frays like a mother effer, oh my god, it's very, 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 very important to make sure that you finish all of the edges and hems and all of that to make sure it doesn't become like a fraying mess. So these are what the skirts look like once you're done hemming everything. So now what we're going to do is attach the skirts together at the waist, line it up, and then sew at 1/4 inch. I made sure that the waists are lined up and that the center fronts were lined up as well. So it's like everything's all at the same place that it's supposed to be and becomes one full skirt together. So this is what the skirt looks like when you attach them together. It looks so cute. Oh my god. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm keeping myself composed now. All right, so now what we're going to do is run a gather stitch at the waist part. I'm just going to hand gather it with a needle and thread and just kind of wiggle my needle and thread through, kind of like almost like a basting stitch. So once I finish gathering the skirt, I'm going to take the band and try to gather the skirt down. So that is the measurement of the waistband. So I'm flipping the skirt over and I'm going to align the waistband, the waist of the skirt to the waist of the waistband. And then we're going to clip them together and it will be sewn at 1/4 inch. So this is what the skirt is looking like so far. Oh my god. Okay. So anyway, I don't know if you can see. I'm probably going to zoom in. Yeah, there we go. And so I applied the buckle, clipped it together. And so now I'm just going to sew that down and then the skirt will be done. So now it's time, last but not least, to move on to the infamous jacket. Whoop, whoop. Okay. So for the jacket, we'll be using the same beautiful but frustrating fabric. We are first going to take the front jacket piece and the back jacket piece. I am going to place the front jacket pieces on top of the back jacket pieces, wrong sides together, and pin it because I am doing a French seam. I will also make a different video very, very soon about how to do a French seam, but it's very simple. So I'm sewing at the side seams and the shoulders. I'm probably going to like skip over a lot of this stuff because like the French seam is like a video in of itself. Or what I'm doing now is taking some stickers and marking the right side of the fabric, just so I don't get confused or anything like that. Okay, so we constructed the bases of the jacket. So now we're moving on to making the sleeves, and this is what the sleeve pattern looks like. These are what the sleeves look like when you cut them out of the fabric. As you see, they're so big that you kind of catch a little bit of my living room, but don't mind my living room, okay? So anyway, what we're going to do is fold the sleeves in half, matching the armpit points together, and then we're going to pin the rest of the arm part of the sleeve down and sew it at 1/4 inch. So this is what the sleeve looks like once we do that. I am so sorry for these weird angles. The sleeve is just so big. We are going to run another gathering stitch all around that cap of the sleeve, the arm curve of the sleeve, because we want to gather the sleeve down. It takes a lot of thread though, so make sure you put like a lot, like make a huge long piece of thread in order to gather the sleeve. Okay, so I'm done doing the gathering stitch. I didn't gather anything yet, but I went all around the sleeve from the armpit all the way around. But I'm going to flip the sleeve inside out. Oh no, right side in, so that it like the right side is facing you. The sleeve that Ariana Grande has is a cowl sleeve, I believe. It's like a cowl puff sleeve because it's like this huge loop at the top and then the rest is pretty much gathered. So I did a cowl at the top, literally like how a cowl neck is, and that it looks like you take 2 pieces of fabric and make like a little U with it. So what I'm first going to do is do the cowl. So I have one point that's 1 inch away from the center point of the sleeve cap. I'm going to grab that point, then measure down 20 inches and then grab that point and then make a cowl connecting those 2 points together. So it makes this little U or teardrop shape and pin those together. So then next, what we're just going to do is pretty much gather the rest of the empty space that we have. So it makes the little like waves and gathers that we need for the sleeve. And so what you see me doing here, I'm going to attach the cowl to where the notch is that I put on my bodice, on the center front, 1 inch down from where the shoulder is, and pin that there, and then pin the armpit part to the armpit part of the bodice. And then I gather the rest of the sleeve down until the sleeve can fit in the armhole. So it's the same circumference as the armhole. And then I'm going to pin everything together and then sew at a 1/2 inch like a regular sleeve and call it a day. I hope it made sense. You can ask me anything about like the construction of this outfit down below because I know it's a lot. It's a very like intermediate to advanced project. This is not a project for beginners like at all. So please let me know if you have any questions and hopefully I can answer them for you. Okay, so both sleeves are attached to the jacket and I'm so freaking happy because look at it. Look at it. I said I was going to keep my composure. I'm sorry, y'all. I just love this project so much. So what I'm going to do now is finish the edge of that center front, or the edge of the center front, and also the collar. And what I'm going to do is another double folded hem really, really quickly. So now that we've finished the front of the jacket, it is time to then do the band that goes to the hem of the jacket. So I'm first going to take a measuring tape and measure the bottom of the hem of the jacket, just to know how much length I need for the band. I'm going to cut out a rectangle out of the organza about that measurement plus 1, and then I think it's about 5 inches wide. What we're going to do, like we've been doing, we're going to fold this band hot dog style and sew it at a 1/2 inch. I'm pinning the two together, but I'm making sure there's about a 1/2 inch of kind of overhang with the band, so that I can end up folding it over later. You'll see what I'm talking about. However, I had a faux pas with this too. This was a project of a lot of trial and error. The better way to do this was to find the center point of the jacket and the band and then connect those together and then pin the rest. I did not do that because I was so tired of sewing by this point that I just wanted to get it done. So now this is what the jacket looks like so far. It's like now really starting to look like a jacket, not just a jacket, but like a jacket. So now what we're going to do is take that band and the overhang, and I'm just going to fold it back until the edge of the band lines up to that center front. I have the band that I showed you in the beginning that was too small. I have that band and I have a buckle. So we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to make tabs out of that leftover fabric, and I'm going to attach that to the jacket. Okay, so the tabs and the buckle are attached to the band of the jacket, and now we're moving on to pretty much the final step of the whole transformation. So I am going to make the cuffs for the jacket. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to that seam of the sleeve, and right beside it I'm going to measure 2 inches up, and I'm going to cut a slit into the sleeve. So now what I'm going to do is finish that little slit that we made. It's called a vent. So what I'm going to do now is take a ribbon, it's about 1/4 inch wide, fold it over the raw edge. So it pretty much encases the raw edge of that vent. So here is the cuff pattern. I marked the width of the cuff as the width of the cuff, and then the length of the cuff is the length of the bottom of the sleeve where the wrist is. Then I added a 1/2 inch seam allowance all the way around except for the right side. That's an inch seam allowance. Now I changed those seam allowances to 2 inches and 1 inch for the right side and left side. So I'm going to cut out 4 pieces for one cuff because I'm going to self interface the cuff just to make the cuff stiffer. So I'm going to place one piece on top of the other and then just sew them together. I'm going to place one on top of the other, and then we're going to sew those together on one side at a 1/2 inch. We're going to take the jacket. I'm going to take one side of the cuff and then pin it to the sleeve, right sides kissing. Like we did for the band, is make sure that there's a little overhang with the cuff. So I'm showing 1 inch here, and then I'm going to pin it down, making sure that there's 1 inch more of the cuff hanging off, like past the slit. And then pin it all around the cuff, and then making sure that there's 2 inches hanging off on the other side of the slit. And then we're going to sew the cuff to the sleeve. So with the other edge, top of the cuff that's not attached to the sleeve, I'm going to take it and fold it a 1/2 inch and pin it down and eventually iron it down as well, because we want a finished edge to cover the seam that is attaching the cuff to the sleeve later. I'm sorry that it's not in frame and it's irking my nerve, but after we do that, we're going to fold the cuff in half and then sew down the sides of the cuff. It's like align that folded edge of the cuff to where the cuff is sewed to the sleeve. And once everything is pinned, we will sew the sides of the sleeve down. Okay, so everything is sewed down. Yeah, I'm flipping the cuff, so now all the edges should be finished, and it's like should start looking like a cuff. Okay, and then the last thing that we need to do to make it like a official cuff is now align that folded edge that we did to that raw edge to cover that raw edge that's attached to the sleeve. So once we pin everything, then it should look like this, and then we're going to sew it down again at a 1/2 inch. And now we got cuffs. They're looking really, really, really cute. We're not done yet. Please make sure that you iron the cuffs down so they look like actual cuffs. See, so now it looks a little bit more professional. You know what I mean? So now at that inch seam allowance side of the cuff, I'm going to fold it back like I did for the band and then sew it down. Okay, so once we do that, the cuffs are almost done. I believe we just have to sew on the snap buttons. So what I'm doing first is taking the vent and pinning it together because that's where we want it to lay and look once we actually like snap or close the cuff. I'm going to take that excess 2 inch seam allowance and fold it over. And what I'm going to do now while it's in this position is place 2 pins in the cuff vertically, exactly where I want the snap buttons to be. And then I'm going to mark that placement with a marker. After we do that, we are going to hand sew the snap buttons on. It's very, very simple. What I like to do whenever I'm doing something like this is do them in pairs. After that, the whole project is pretty much done. So this is how the outfit came out. I freaking love it. I feel like we nailed this. I feel like it looks really, really, really close to what Ariana Grande wore. And I'm just super proud of sewing something like this because this is way out of my comfort zone. And I just love it. I love the transformation. I couldn't get the ponytail right though because I was using a synthetic wig, and those are heavy, so like it will weigh down the ponytail, but I feel like I got the look. So I'm just going to move on to like just my tips and takeaways and all that stuff. So that is it for this video. I'm just going to talk a little bit about this project. This project was very challenging for me. I started it on the 11th and I finished it, I believe, on the 25th. So it took a while to do. I worked with organza for the first time, and that was rough. I wish I could have picked another fabric, but it frays, it pulls apart. It's a hot mess. But once you secure it, like I said, with the double folded hem and the French seam and stuff like that, it's pretty okay. This project is really for like intermediate to advanced sewers. It's not a beginner project. But the jacket, it was the first time for me to make a jacket with cuffs or a jacket at all, and that was an interesting feat as well. So I'm probably going to try to recreate this outfit maybe in like a different color because I would love to sew it again now that I've learned all that I learned throughout this project. So I know she has a purple one that's made out of like taffeta, so I might do that one. Hopefully I'll be able to make a separate video about it, but I made a Patreon, and so if you sign up for my Patreon, then you'll be able to access the pattern just willingly and all the other patterns that I have pretty much drafted on this channel. I'm working to build up the library for that. Please go and check that out. I think that's pretty much it. So please comment down below if there's any Sweetener Tour outfits that you'd like me to recreate. Happy New Year as well, because I'm pretty sure this video will be going up after New Year. So Happy New Year. So as always, please love yourself, and I will see you next video. Mwah!